The State Weather Bureau is monitoring a low-pressure area outside the Philippine area of responsibility as Typhoon Marce exits the region. In an update on Friday, November 8, Pagasa says the typhoon, formerly called Marce, exited PAR at around 4 p.m. In its 5 p.m. bulletin, Pagasa says the typhoon was last spotted outside PAR, some 285 kilometers west-northwest of Sinait, Ilocos Sur. It is carrying maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 185 kilometers per hour. All tropical cyclone wind signals have been lifted. Pagasa says the typhoon's trough will continue to bring scattered rains and thunderstorms over Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur in the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, the LPA being monitored by Pagasa was spotted 1,705 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon at 3 p.m. on Friday. According to Pagasa, the LPA currently has a low chance of becoming a tropical cyclone within 24 hours. However, the agency notes that based on the tropical cyclone threat potential forecast issued on Friday, the LPA has a high chance of becoming a tropical depression within the week of November 8 to 14. Malacanang has released an executive order on the immediate ban on all Philippine offshore gaming operators or internet gaming licensees and offshore gaming operations in the country. EO number 74 was signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin on November 5 and released to the media on Friday, November 8. Aside from the operations itself, the order is likewise banning the application and renewal of new licenses, permits, and authorizations. It also directs the creation of a technical working group for employment recovery and reintegration, which shall convene to develop and implement a comprehensive strategy that will effectively enforce the ban. They are also tasked with addressing the impact of the foregoing ban on affected sectors of the economy, ensuring the reintegration of displaced Filipino workers and the provision of assistance, and providing upskilling and reskilling programs for them. EO number 74 also orders the creation of a technical working group on anti-illegal offshore gaming operations to further intensify the crackdown. This group will spearhead investigations on individuals who are involved in illegal activities in the offshore gaming industry, ensure prosecution of violations, and initiate and carry out deportation of foreigners involved. In his third State of the Nation address in July, President Bongbong Marcos banned all Pogos in the Philippines, giving them until December 31 to operate. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives' respective probes revealed Pogo hubs in the Philippines have become a hotbed for crimes, including human trafficking, among others. President Bongbong Marcos signs into law the Philippine Maritime Zones Act and the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act on Friday, November 8. In a ceremony in Malacanang Palace, Marcos says that through these two laws, the Philippines reaffirms its sovereignty over its maritime zones in accordance with international law.
Maintaining the primacy of the UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award as our beacons in the maritime domain, the Philippines reaffirms its sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in our waters. By defining and asserting our maritime zones, we project to the international community that we are staunchly committed to nurturing, cultivating, and protecting our maritime domain.
To be known as Republic Act No. 12064, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act aims to declare the country's maritime zones in accordance with the standards set by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. It will also clarify the geographical extent of the Philippine maritime domain and specify the legal powers that the Philippines may exercise over these areas. Meanwhile, RA 12065, or the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, complements the Philippine Maritime Zones Act in ensuring the protection of the country's sovereignty and maritime domain. It will design routes and areas that shall be utilized and accessed by foreign military vessels and foreign registered aircraft for passage. Marcos in his speech also emphasizes the Philippines' resolve in ensuring its waters remain a source of life and livelihood for Filipinos.
The passage of these two priority bills fully demonstrate our commitment as a responsible member of the international community and our advocacy to uphold rules-based international order. In the same breath, these signal our resolve to protect our maritime resources, preserve our rich biodiversity, and ensure that our waters remain a source of life and livelihood for all Filipinos.
The Philippines has long been embroiled in a maritime dispute with China, which asserts sovereignty over most of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. However, an international arbitral tribunal in 2016 effectively invalidated Beijing's maritime claims and affirmed Manila's exclusive sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea. A new Philippine map that includes the West Philippine Sea as part of its jurisdiction will be released soon, according to the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. In a palace briefing on Friday, November 8, National Mapping and Resource Information Authority Administrator Peter Chanco says they already prepared maps defining Philippine maritime zones.
Actually, we already have prepared the delineation of maritime zones and archipelagic sea lanes. We are just awaiting and anticipating the issuance of the IRR, the implementing rules and regulations, for us to fine-tune the same and to finally publish the map.
President Bongbong Marcos signed earlier on Friday the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, which aims to declare the country's maritime zones in accordance with the standards set by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. It will likewise clarify the geographical extent of the Philippine maritime domain and specify the legal powers that the Philippines may exercise over these areas. In an ambush interview after the palace briefing, Chanco was asked about the revised map of China, which incorporates Taiwan and most of the West Philippine Sea. Beijing in August 2023 unveiled its new 10-line map from the previous 9-line. Chanco points out that the big difference between the new Philippine map and the modified China map is that Manila's map is supported by existing laws. Apart from the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, Marcos likewise signed on Friday the Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, which ensures the protection of the country's sovereignty and maritime domain. It will design routes and areas that shall be utilized and accessed by foreign military vessels and foreign registered aircraft for passage, which follows the UNCLOS and the Convention on International Civil Aviation, or the Chicago Convention. The money laundering complaints filed against Alice Guo, Sheila Guo, and Cassandra Leong before the Department of Justice are now up for resolution. In an interview on Friday, November 8, Senior Assistant State Prosecutor Charlie Guhit says the cases have been submitted for resolution, noting it was the last day of the preliminary investigation. He says Sheila Guo, Ong, and other respondents already submitted their respective counter-affidavits to the money laundering complaints before the DOJ. For other respondents who would fail to submit their counter-affidavits or even attend the hearing despite issued subpoenas, Guhit says,
So the consequence of which, in case will be submitted for resolution without their counter-affidavits, we will resolve the case against them based on the complaint and the supporting evidence.
Guhit does not provide a specific timeline on when the prosecutors will come up with a resolution, citing delays caused by many days of government work suspension due to the storms. However, he commits to solve the case as quickly as they can. Alice Guo and 35 others were accused of being involved with illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators and sued for 87 counts of money laundering. The Anti-Money Laundering Council, Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, and National Bureau of Investigation filed the money laundering complaints before the DOJ. The office of Senator Gatchalian is distancing itself from a controversy involving the Cadillac Escalade bearing a fake protocol plate 7 that passed through the EDSA busway, stressing the lawmaker does not own the car. Gatchalian's office, in a statement on Friday, November 8, emphasizes that the senator does not own the protocol plate of the vehicle involved and that he has no connection to Orient Pacific Corporation. It adds that Gatchalian is not involved with the incident and that he was not inside the vehicle when the incident occurred. The controversial incident involved the driver and a VIP passenger of the Cadillac Escalade with an attached 7 license plate. The driver of the SUV allegedly tried to run over a lady traffic enforcer when accosted along the EDSA busway at Guadalupe, Makati City. For his part, Gatchalian clarifies that he never lent his official license plate to anyone. In a separate statement issued Thursday evening, Gatchalian said he does not condone the traffic violations committed by the management of Orient Pacific Corporation. He added it is now up to the Land Transportation Office to resolve the issue. Senator Raffy Tulfo earlier said that the VIP passenger aboard the vehicle is linked to a senator, citing information he obtained. When asked to confirm whether the vehicle was listed under the names of William and Kenneth Gatchalian, the father and brother of Senator Win Gatchalian, Tulfo simply said the tip he got appeared to match circulating reports. On November 6, the driver and representatives of Orient Pacific Corporation appeared at the LTO's press conference to apologize. When asked about how Orient Pacific Corporation came to possess the 7 plate assigned for senators, its director Omar Ginomla only said the company is still in conducting its own internal investigation. According to the LTO, the SUV's plate is considered unauthorized as the agency did not issue the 7 protocol plate to this specific vehicle.